There are seasons in life when the weight of pain feels unbearable. You look around and see people laughing, living, moving forward, while you're standing still, trying to make sense of your tears. It's in those moments of silence, when the heart cries out with no words, that a gentle whisper speaks within you. That whisper says, "You're not alone." This is not just comfort, it's truth. Every breath you take, every tear you shed, every step you make, God is walking beside you. He's not watching from a distance. He's holding you close, even when you can't feel His presence. Stay until the end of this video, because what you're about to discover might change the way you see your pain, your path, and your purpose forever. There are moments when life feels like too much to bear. The nights are long, your thoughts are heavy, and even breathing feels like work. You try to smile for others, to appear strong, but inside, something feels broken. The pain is silent but deep. It hides behind your words, your laughter, your daily routines. You tell yourself to keep going, yet every step feels heavier than the last. You look at the sky and wonder if God still remembers your name. But even when your world feels like it's collapsing, God is there, quietly, faithfully, lovingly. He sees what others don't. He knows the tears that fall behind closed doors and the strength it takes to keep moving when no one cheers for you. Every sigh, every cry, every whispered prayer is heard by the one who never sleeps. His heart is moved by your pain, and His presence surrounds you even when you don't feel it. God never promised an easy journey, but He promised that you wouldn't walk it alone. When the weight of your struggle makes you feel like you can't continue, that's when His strength begins to carry you. He doesn't wait for you to be perfect. He meets you right in your weakness. In the very moment you feel like giving up, His grace begins to lift you up. Remember this: what feels like the end is often the beginning of something new. The same tears that fall in despair can water the roots of your breakthrough. You may be tired, but you are not forgotten. You may be hurting, but you are not abandoned. The God who created the stars also carries your pain, and He will never let you fall beyond His reach. God doesn't just sit on a throne watching from afar. He walks with you through every valley, every storm, every silent battle. When your path is dark and uncertain, He doesn't leave you to wander alone. His presence goes before you to prepare the way, beside you to guide your steps, and behind you to protect your back. Every heartbeat you feel is a reminder that He is still near. You might not always feel His presence, but He's there, in the quiet moments, in the small victories, in the deep sighs that only heaven can interpret. When you stumble, He reaches out. When you fall, He picks you up. When you feel weak, He whispers strength into your soul. You may not see His footprints beside yours, but that's because He's carrying you through the hardest parts. Every sunrise is His way of saying, "I'm still here." Every breath you take is a reminder of His mercy. The fact that you're still standing, even after everything you've been through, is proof that His hand never left you. You've faced storms that should have destroyed you, but His grace turned every storm into a lesson, every wound into wisdom, every tear into testimony. And when you reach the end of your road and look back, you'll realize that He was there all along, in every prayer, in every sleepless night, in every impossible situation. You'll see that you were never walking alone. Every step you took, He matched it with love, strength, and unshakable faithfulness. There comes a point when heaven feels silent, when you pray and All you hear is your own voice echoing back. You ask questions that seem unanswered, and your heart aches for a response. You wonder, has God forgotten me? But silence does not mean abandonment. Sometimes God is silent not because he's gone, but because he's working in ways you can't understand. In the valley of silence, faith is tested and strengthened. God uses the quiet to teach you to listen differently, not with your ears, but with your heart. You begin to notice peace in places where pain used to live. You realize that his presence isn't always loud or visible. Sometimes it's a calm assurance that refuses to fade even when everything else feels uncertain. The silence might feel lonely, but it's sacred ground. It's the space where God shapes your character, builds your patience, and draws you closer to his heart. He's not ignoring your cries. He's tuning your spirit to hear his voice in a deeper way. What seems like delay is often preparation for something greater than you imagined. So don't mistake silence for absence. When God is silent, he's often doing his most powerful work behind the scenes. The same God who was silent before the resurrection is the one preparing your victory right now. Your story isn't paused, it's being rewritten by the author of miracles. There are events in your life that didn't make sense when they happened. The missed opportunity, the closed door, the unexpected ending. At the time, you felt disappointed, even angry. But later you realized that what you thought was rejection was actually protection. That's how God works, through invisible hands that guide you toward what's best even when you don't see it.
You may never fully understand why some things happened, but one day you'll look back and see how every piece fit perfectly. That job you lost, that person who left, that plan that failed, all of it was leading you toward a greater purpose. God's fingerprints are everywhere, even in the moments that broke your heart. Every no you received was a divine redirection. Every delay was an invitation to trust his timing. Every obstacle was preparing you for the strength you needed to handle your next blessing. God doesn't waste pain. He transforms it into purpose. The things that hurt you the most often become the very things that shape your destiny. And when you finally understand what he was doing all along, gratitude replaces confusion. You begin to see that his ways are higher, his plans are wiser, and his timing is perfect. His invisible hands were never absent. They were guiding, molding, and blessing you long before you could see the full picture. Fear is powerful. It creeps in silently, whispering lies that make you doubt your worth, your purpose, and even God's love for you. It tells you that you're not enough, that your dreams will fail, that you're walking this path alone. But fear is not truth. It's a shadow that disappears when light shines. And the light of God's presence is always stronger than the darkness of fear. When fear tries to control your heart, remember who walks with you. God doesn't just give courage, he is courage. He stands beside you in every battle, reminding you that victory is already written. You may feel small, but the God within you is greater than the giants you face. You may feel uncertain, but his promises are unshakable. Every time fear rises, let faith rise higher. Speak life into your situation. Declare that the same God who calmed the storm can calm your heart. Fear will try to return, but it can't stay where faith lives. When you choose to believe instead of panic, you invite heaven to move on your behalf. And even when fear screams loudly, remember this truth: you're not walking alone. God's presence surrounds you like armor. His love casts out all fear. And when you take a trembling step forward in faith, you'll realize fear was never stronger than the God who walks beside you. Trusting God is one of the hardest things to do when everything around you feels uncertain. When doors close, when prayers seem unanswered, when the plan falls apart, your heart begins to question, "Why me, Lord?" But faith doesn't mean you always understand. It means you believe even when you don't. Trust is not born in comfort, it's born in chaos, when all you have left is His promise. In those moments, God doesn't ask for explanations, He asks for surrender. He wants you to release control and let Him take the wheel. Because when you stop fighting to make sense of everything, you make room for His peace to enter. True trust begins when you say, "Even if I don't see the way, I'll still follow you." Every time you choose to trust, heaven moves. The impossible becomes possible. The heavy burden becomes light. God honors those who hold on to faith even when the outcome is unclear. He sees your patience, your tears, your efforts to believe, and in time, He rewards them with divine clarity and peace. And when you finally look back, you'll realize that what once felt like loss was actually protection, and what felt like delay was preparation. Trusting God doesn't remove life's storms, but it anchors your soul so deeply that no wind cannot root you. Because when you place your trust in Him, you are standing on unshakable ground. Sometimes we look for big miracles to confirm that God is with us, but He often shows His love in quiet ways. A stranger's smile when you're feeling low, a message that arrives just when you needed hope, a song that speaks directly to your pain. These aren't coincidences, they're divine reminders that you are never forgotten. God's presence surrounds you in the small, sacred moments of every day. Every breath you take is proof of His grace. The fact that you've survived storms that should have destroyed you is evidence of His mercy. Each sunrise is a personal message from heaven saying, "You get another chance." You might not see lightning or hear thunder, but the peace that fills your heart in the middle of chaos, that's God whispering, "I'm here." When you start paying attention, you realize how active God is really in your life. The right people show up at the right time, the wrong ones quietly fade away. Opportunities open that you never planned, and somehow you end up exactly where you needed to be. That's not luck, that's divine orchestration. So stop saying, "Nothing's happening." Something is happening. God is moving. You're breathing, healing, becoming. You're walking proof that His hand is still at work, turning ordinary days into divine appointments. Pain is a language that the soul understands even when words fail. It humbles you, changes you, and brings you closer to God in ways that comfort never could. It's not meant to destroy you, it's meant to transform you. God uses pain to reveal strength you didn't know you had, and to strip away things that were never meant to stay. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every tear has meaning. The moments you thought would end you were actually shaping you into the person you were destined to become. When you feel broken, remember that broken soil produces the richest fruit. Your pain is not wasted. It's the very place where God plants the seeds of your next blessing. You see, purpose is often hidden inside of pain. It's the fire that refines your faith, the valley that deepens your compassion, the trial that opens your eyes to grace. When you begin to see your suffering through that lens, it no longer feels like punishment, but preparation. God is not breaking you down, He's building you up for something greater. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the things that once hurt you the most became the foundation of your greatest strength. Your story will inspire others to believe again. Because sometimes your pain is not just about you, it's about what God will do through you.
Your journey is not a random sequence of events. It's a sacred story written by divine hands. Every joy, every failure, every delay, every miracle is part of a masterpiece that only God can see from above. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll realize that every detour had purpose and every heartbreak had meaning. Nothing is wasted when your life is in God's hands. The moments you thought were the end were actually new beginnings in disguise. The people who left made room for the right ones to arrive. The doors that closed pushed you toward better paths. even your mistakes can't cancel God's plan. He uses them as brush strokes in the painting of your destiny. You're not behind. You're right where you're meant to be. Sometimes the hardest roads lead to the most beautiful destinations. It's on the narrow path, the one you didn't choose, that you meet God face to face. He's not just interested in where you're going, but in who you're becoming along the way. Your journey is shaping your character, refining your heart, and teaching you to see with heaven's perspective. So stop comparing your life to others. Your story is unique. Your timing is divine. And even if the road feels long, every step is sacred because every step is guided by the one who knows exactly where he's leading you. Right now, wherever you are, whether in a crowded city, a quiet room, or a place of pain, God is there. You may not see him, but his presence fills the space around you. You may not hear him, but his silence speaks volumes of love and patience. He has never left you for a single second. Every heartbeat is proof that he still has purpose for you. When you cry, he listens. When you fall, he reaches out. When you feel invisible, he calls you by name. You are not forgotten, not abandoned, not unloved. God has written your name in his hands, and nothing, not fear, not failure, not loneliness, can erase it. You are his child, and he walks beside you every step of the way. Even in your darkest nights, light is never far away. God doesn't always remove the storm, but he stands with you in the middle of it, turning your pain into peace. When you feel too weak to keep going, his strength becomes your wings. When you feel too broken to pray, his spirit intercedes for you. That's how close he is. So lift your head. You are not walking through this life alone. The same God who created the stars walks beside you in silence and speaks through your soul. Every step, every breath, every heartbeat, he is there, guiding, loving, and protecting you, always.
If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope today. Comment below, "I'm not alone. God is with me." Like, share, and subscribe to spread faith and encouragement to others. Because no matter where you are or what you face, remember, you're never walking alone. God is with you every step of the way.